June 22, 1986, 9:34 p.m. Riverfront Coliseum, Cincinnati, Ohio. Prince was halfway through Purple Rain when 8-year-old Michael Torres broke away from his overwhelmed single father and ran crying onto the stage in front of 17,000 people. Security immediately moved to intercept the small boy, but something in the child's desperate sobs made Prince stop singing mid-verse and raise his hand to halt the guards. Michael's father, 31-year-old Roberto Torres, had brought his son to the concert as a promised birthday gift, but the crushing crowd and thunderous music had terrified the young boy who was still grieving his mother's death from cancer just 3 months earlier. What Prince did in the next 8 minutes didn't just comfort a frightened child. It transformed how everyone in that arena understood what it means to be a protector, a healer, and a hero when someone small and vulnerable needs you most. If you believe that true greatness is measured not by how you handle success, but by how you respond when a child needs you, and that the most powerful moments happen when artists remember their humanity is more important than their performance, please subscribe to witness the stories that prove legends aren't just entertainers. They're guardians of innocence who understand that some moments matter more than any show. Roberto Torres hadn't planned to bring his 8-year-old son to a Prince concert. The tickets had been intended as a rare date night with his wife Maria, a celebration of their 10th wedding anniversary. But cancer had stolen Maria from their family in March 1986, leaving Roberto to raise Michael alone while struggling with his own overwhelming grief. The Prince tickets, purchased months earlier during happier times, represented more than entertainment. They were a symbol of the life Roberto and Maria had planned to share. After Maria's death, Roberto's first instinct was to sell the tickets, unable to imagine enjoying music when his world had become defined by silence and loss. But 8-year-old Michael had other ideas. The boy had been unusually quiet since his mother's death, retreating into himself in ways that worried Roberto, his teachers, and the grief counselor they had started seeing. Michael rarely spoke about his feelings, rarely cried, rarely showed any emotion at all, beyond a haunting sadness that seemed too heavy for such small shoulders. The breakthrough came when Michael found the Prince tickets in his father's desk drawer while looking for crayons. Roberto found his son staring at the tickets with an intensity that alarmed him. "Mama liked Purple Rain," Michael said quietly, the first time he had mentioned his mother in weeks. "She used to sing it when she cooked dinner. She said Prince made music for people who were sad." Roberto knelt down beside his son, seeing something in the boy's eyes that he hadn't seen since before Maria's illness. A flicker of connection to something beyond their shared grief. "Would you like to go?" Roberto asked carefully. "It might be loud, and there will be a lot of people." Michael nodded solemnly. "Mama would want us to go. She said music helps when your heart is broken." The evening of June 22nd presented challenges Roberto hadn't anticipated. Riverfront Coliseum was massive, holding over 17,000 people, and the crowd was energetic in ways that overwhelmed Michael immediately. The boy clung to his father's hand as they made their way through the throngs of excited fans, many dressed in purple, many already celebrating with an enthusiasm that seemed foreign to a family, still learning how to navigate public spaces without Maria's comforting presence. Their seats were in the general admission floor area, not ideal for a small child, but Roberto had hoped the standing room would allow Michael to see better and leave easily if the experience became too much. What Roberto hadn't considered was how trapped they would feel once the concert began and the crowd surged toward the stage. Prince's performance was electrifying from the opening song. The music was louder than anything Michael had ever experienced, and the crowd's energy was infectious and overwhelming simultaneously. For the first 30 minutes, Michael seemed fascinated by the spectacle, the lights, the musicians, the way Prince commanded the enormous space with such confidence and grace. But as the evening progressed, Michael became increasingly agitated. The crushing crowd pressed closer to the stage, making Roberto struggle to keep his son visible and safe. The music, while beautiful, was accompanied by a light show that became disorienting for a child who was already emotionally fragile. The crisis came during Purple Rain, the song that had connected Michael to these tickets in the first place. As Prince began the familiar opening chords, Michael started crying. Not the frustrated tears of a tired child, but the deep, wrenching sobs of someone remembering profound loss. "I want Mama," Michael cried, his small voice lost in the arena's vastness. "She's not here to sing with me." Roberto tried to comfort his son, but the crowd around them was focused entirely on Prince's performance, making it difficult to create the quiet space Michael needed. The boy became increasingly distressed, his cries growing louder as his emotional dam finally broke after months of unexpressed grief. In his panic and confusion, Michael did what scared children do. He ran toward the thing that felt most important, most connected to his mother's memory. He broke away from Roberto's protective grasp and ran directly toward the stage, toward Prince, toward the source of the music his mother had loved. Security personnel immediately noticed the small figure running across the stage and began moving to intercept him. A child appearing on stage during a major concert was a serious security concern that required immediate action. But something about Michael's desperate sobbing cut through the music and reached Prince's attention. Prince stopped singing mid-verse, the sudden silence creating a momentary pause in the arena's energy. 17,000 people watched as Prince walked toward the crying child, his expression shifting from professional performer to concerned adult. "Hey there, little man," Prince said gently, crouching down to Michael's eye level. His voice, amplified by the wireless microphone he wore, carried clearly through the arena. "What's wrong? Are you lost?" Michael looked up at Prince through his tears, seeing kindness in the artist's eyes rather than annoyance or impatience. "My mama died," Michael said simply, his 8-year-old honesty cutting straight to the heart of his pain. "She loved your music, but she's not here anymore." Before we reveal how Prince responded to this moment of pure childhood vulnerability, let me ask you, have you ever witnessed someone respond to a child's pain with perfect compassion? Have you seen an adult set aside everything else to focus completely on what a young person needed? Share your thoughts in the comments, because what happened next became a masterclass in how to honor both grief and love simultaneously. Prince's expression immediately softened as he fully understood what was happening. This wasn't a publicity stunt or an attention-seeking interruption. This was a grieving child who had connected his mother's memory to this music and was experiencing an emotional breakthrough in the most public possible setting. "What was your mama's name?" Prince asked quietly, though his microphone ensured that everyone in the arena could hear the conversation. "Maria," Michael answered, his tears beginning to slow as he focused on Prince's gentle attention. "Maria sounds like she was pretty special," Prince said. "Did she really like Purple Rain?" Michael nodded. "She sang it all the time. She said it was about being sad but still believing things could get better." Prince smiled, understanding immediately that this child's mother had been wise about music's healing power. "Your mama was right. That's exactly what it's about. What's your name, buddy?" "Michael." "Michael, I want to tell you something important," Prince said, his voice carrying an authority that made the entire arena listen as if he were speaking to each person individually. "When someone we love dies, they don't really leave us. They live in the music that made them happy, in the songs they sang to us, in the love they taught us to feel. Your mama is here tonight, Michael. She's in this music, she's in your heart, and she's in the way you were brave enough to run up here to find her." The arena was completely silent now, 17,000 people understanding that they were witnessing something far more important than any concert performance. "Would you like to help me finish this song?" Prince asked. "For your mama?" Michael nodded, wiping his eyes with the back of his small hand. Prince stood up and walked to the piano at the side of the stage, gesturing for Michael to join him. "Come sit with me, Michael. Let's sing this for Maria together." Michael climbed onto the piano bench beside Prince, his small frame dwarfed by both the instrument and the massive stage. Prince began playing a gentle, simplified version of Purple Rain, transforming the epic rock ballad into something more intimate and appropriate for a child's voice. "Do you know the words?" Prince asked softly. "Some of them," Michael replied. "Mama taught me the chorus." "Then let's sing the chorus together." Just you and me and your mama." When Prince and Michael began singing together, their voices, one mature and trained, one young and vulnerable, created something that transcended music. Michael's small voice, amplified by Prince's microphone, carried clearly through the arena as he sang the words his mother had taught him. The sight of Prince, one of music's biggest stars, sitting patiently with a grieving 8-year-old and creating space for the child's pain, moved the entire audience to tears. People throughout the arena were openly weeping, understanding that they were witnessing pure compassion in action. When the song ended, Prince turned to Michael and said something that the arena's microphones barely picked up, but that Michael would remember for the rest of his life. "Your mama would be so proud of you tonight. You were brave, you honored her memory, and you shared your love with all these people. That's what music is really for." Prince then did something that surprised everyone. He took off one of his signature purple scarves and tied it gently around Michael's neck. "This is for you to keep," Prince told him. "When you miss your mama, you can hold this and remember that she's always with you in the music you love." Security personnel, who had been waiting nervously to address the situation, watched as Prince personally escorted Michael back to his father, who was standing at the edge of the stage in tears of gratitude and amazement. "Take care of that brave boy," Prince told Roberto, his words audible to nearby audience members. "He's got his mama's heart." Prince returned to the microphone and addressed the audience directly. "Sometimes the most important thing we can do is stop everything and pay attention to what really matters." Tonight, Michael reminded us that music isn't about entertainment. It's about healing, remembering, and honoring the people who taught us how to love. The concert continued for another hour, but everyone understood that the evening's most significant moment had already occurred. Prince's willingness to set aside his performance to comfort a grieving child had transformed a concert into something approaching a religious experience for many in attendance. After the show, Roberto and Michael were invited backstage, where Prince spent another 20 minutes talking privately with them. Prince gave Michael a signed photograph and his personal phone number, telling Roberto to call if Michael ever needed to talk to someone who understood how music could help process grief. The impact of that evening extended far beyond Michael and Roberto's personal healing. News of Prince's response to the crying child spread rapidly through entertainment media, but the coverage focused not on spectacle, but on the profound humanity Prince had displayed. More importantly, the incident inspired Prince to establish a program at his concerts specifically designed to accommodate families dealing with loss. The Purple Hearts Initiative, launched later in 1986, provided special seating areas and emotional support for families attending concerts while processing grief, ensuring that music could serve its healing purpose without overwhelming vulnerable audience members. Michael Torres, now 46 years old, became a music therapist specializing in grief counseling for children. He credits that night with Prince as the moment he learned that pain shared becomes bearable, and that music could be a bridge between loss and healing. In interviews, Michael often describes the lasting impact of Prince's compassion. Prince could have been annoyed that a crying kid interrupted his show. Instead, he saw a child who needed help and made that more important than anything else happening that night. "He taught me that being strong means being gentle with people who are hurting." Roberto Torres kept in touch with Prince for several years after that concert, sending updates about Michael's progress and development. Prince always responded personally, often including small gifts or concert tickets when his tours brought him near Cincinnati. When Prince passed away in 2016, Michael and Roberto attended the memorial service in Minneapolis. Michael, now an adult with children of his own, brought the purple scarf Prince had given him 30 years earlier. "Prince saved my childhood that night," Michael told reporters at the memorial. "I was drowning in grief, and he threw me a lifeline made of music and kindness. Every child I work with now benefits from what he taught me about meeting people where they are and helping them find their way back to hope." The Riverfront Coliseum has since been demolished, but a small plaque in the downtown Cincinnati area marks the location where Prince demonstrated that true artistry means recognizing when a child needs a hero more than an audience needs a show. Prince Rogers Nelson understood something profound about childhood trauma, That healing happens when caring adults create safe spaces for children to express their pain and receive comfort. He proved that night that the greatest performers are those who understand their platform exists to serve humanity, not the other way around. An 8-year-old boy ran crying onto a stage and found not just a superstar, but a protector who understood that some moments transcend entertainment and become opportunities for pure human connection. Because the most powerful music happens when an artist stops performing and starts caring. If this story reminds you that true heroism means responding to vulnerability with compassion, and that the greatest artists are those who use their platform to heal rather than just entertain, please subscribe to keep these stories alive. Because the world needs more examples of how power, when used with love, becomes a force for healing the deepest wounds.